Washington's drug war edges towards Venezuela. Trump officials eye drone strikes and raids on Maduro's soil. Caracas calls it a plot to steal oil, Human Rights Watch warns of executions, and 14 already lie dead at sea. Marines in the Caribbean, diplomats sidelined. Is this counter-narcotics or America's next regime change war? US military officials are reportedly exploring methods to strike drug traffickers within Venezuela, with attacks on the ground potentially possible in the coming weeks. According to NBC News, the development comes amid a recent spike in US operations against suspected narcotics networks in the Caribbean. Over the past month, the US military has targeted 3 Venezuelan boats, which President Donald Trump identified as vessels for drug traffickers. The American president has described them as legitimate targets in the administration's ongoing efforts to combat drug cartels. The legality of the strikes has been questioned, as the administration has yet to provide evidence that drugs were on all targeted boats. Human Rights Watch has criticized the actions, arguing that the blasts amounted to what it terms extrajudicial killings. Tensions escalated in August after the US deployed Marines and warships to the Caribbean Sea, citing anti-drug trafficking operations. Venezuela responded by mobilizing its military, framing the deployments as acts of aggression. The first attack resulted in 11 fatalities, the second killed 3, and the death toll from the third incident remains unclear. Analysts warn that this escalation raises the risk of direct conflict between the United States and Venezuela, intensifying regional instability. NBC News cited 4 anonymous sources familiar with the planning and discussions, suggesting that any strikes within Venezuela would mark a further escalation by the Trump administration against the Venezuelan government. Sources indicate that potential attacks could include drone strikes targeting members and leadership of alleged drug trafficking organizations, as well as drug labs. Trump administration officials have expressed frustration that the recent strikes have prompted little response from Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro or his government. Instead, domestic pushback over the attacks has forced US officials to more carefully consider next steps. However, Maduro denies Venezuela's involvement in drug trafficking, accusing the US of seeking regime change, yet he offered direct dialogue with Washington via envoy Richard Grenell following recent boat strikes. Meanwhile, President Trump has issued strong public warnings. On Truth Social last week, he wrote,
"We want Venezuela to immediately accept all of the prisoners and people from mental institutions, which includes the worst in the world insane asylums that Venezuelan leadership has forced into the United States of America. Thousands of people have been badly hurt and even killed by these monsters. Get them the hell out of our country right now, or the price you pay will be incalculable."
Critics of the strikes have not held back. Kenneth Roth, former executive director of Human Rights Watch, highlighted the legal and ethical concerns surrounding the operations.
Just because Trump orders a second round of murders of drug suspects in the Caribbean doesn't make it any more legal than the first round. These are summary executions, not acts in a war.
Carlos Sola, a researcher at the Royal United Services Institute, emphasized the broader regional implications.
It won't sit well if Washington takes unilateral measures, especially since matters in the Caribbean Sea affect many coastal countries in Central and South America, and any intervention will have serious repercussions in an already politically fragile hotspot in the region.
The situation highlights the high-stakes tension between US military action and Venezuelan diplomacy, with regional stability hanging in the balance. Venezuelan officials have consistently framed US operations as acts of aggression and threats to sovereignty. On September 26th, Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Eduardo Gil Pinto accused the Trump administration of attempting to bring war to Latin America while seeking to exploit Venezuela's national resources.
Today, the aggression targets Venezuela, a peaceful and supportive country. Since Venezuela cannot be accused of having weapons of mass destruction or nuclear weapons, today they invent vulgar and perverse lies that no one believes either in the United States or in the world to justify a millionaire military threat that is atrocious, extravagant, and immoral. The denunciation of this attempt to bring war to the Caribbean and South America to promote a regime change that allows them to steal Venezuela's incalculable oil and gas wealth. The revolutionary government of President Nicolas Maduro fully reaffirms its commitment to the construction of that world of respect for international law without hegemonic or warlike empires, where the peoples of the global South see our right to peace and the future guaranteed.
Gil Pinto further argued that the US actions in the Caribbean are part of a broader attempt to effect regime change and access Venezuela's oil and gas wealth.